You ever find out someone's been laughing about you behind your back? Now imagine it's the person you sleep next to every night, talking to her male friends about the way you moan in bed, how fast you finish, what you don't do right, and they're laughing, all of them, at you. That's how I found out my relationship was a performance, and I was the punchline. My name is Ryan Caldwell. I'm 31, live in Chicago, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I was in love. Her name was Emily, smart, social, magnetic, the kind of woman who makes friends in an elevator, especially male friends. But I wasn't insecure, at least. That's what I told myself, even when she stayed out late with them. Even when she went on movie nights I wasn't invited to. Even when she spent New Year's morning on the phone with one of them. While I was lying in bed, next to her, I should have known. I should have looked harder, asked more questions. But instead, I trusted her. Then, one night, her phone buzzed. She was in the shower. It lit up. I wasn't trying to snoop, but the notification read, "Oh my God, Emily, tell me again what he said. When you told him about the moaning." I'm screaming. My blood went cold. I unlocked her phone. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I just scrolled, and there it was, thread after thread, group chats, screenshots, Emily describing in humiliating detail our sex, life, to her male friends, to men she said were like brothers, to men I shook hands with. She told them about my body, about how I struggled with foreplay, how she faked it every time, how she wished she could show them what real chemistry looked like. And then pictures of her, of things only I should have seen, to men who replied with emojis and gifs and thirst. And the worst part, she told them I was okay with it, that I knew about their friendship, that I was just chill like that. Let me be very clear. I wasn't chill. I was betrayed, and I wasn't going to scream or beg. No, I was going to reply, but not to her texts. I was going to reply to this humiliation with precision, with receipts, with everything her family needed to see. She shared my body with strangers. Fine. I'd share her secrets with blood. Asterisk, I didn't sleep that night. Not a minute. Emily crawled into bed like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't just turned my most private moments into locker room gossip. She curled up beside me, kissed my shoulder, whispered, "You've been quiet lately, babe. Everything okay?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask her if Mark knew what my silence sounded like, but I just smiled, and I said, "Yeah, just tired." Because now, I wasn't her boyfriend anymore. I was her mirror, and she was about to see every ugly reflection she ever thought would stay hidden. I started saving the messages, every disgusting comment, every emoji, every crude joke, screenshots, backups, time-stamped folders. I wasn't going to act out of rage. Rage was messy, emotional, easy to dismiss. No, this needed to be surgical, cold, unforgiving. I made a private email account, labeled it innocently Homer Sipes to 2. Then I backed up everything. Google Drive, USB, encrypted zip files. I wasn't taking chances. The next step, figure out who mattered most to her. She had a picture-perfect family, a mom who always posted about her classy daughter, a dad who thought she could do no wrong, a little sister who idolized her. They deserved the truth. But timing was everything. So I waited, watched her like she'd watched me all these years. And Emily, she kept handing me more evidence. More messages, more late-night calls, more plans with the guys. I even watched her giggle on FaceTime with Mark. While I sat in the same room, just out of frame, she whispered, "Shh, he's right there." And they laughed, like I wasn't even human. Good. Let them laugh, because when I was done, they'd remember the day I stopped being her joke and became her reckoning. Asterisk, the thing about revenge, it works best when they trust you the most. And Emily trusted me again. Too much. After a few days of quiet smiles and soft words, she thought everything was back to normal. She kissed me more, cooked dinner, even said things like, "I don't deserve you." Damn right, you don't. But I played along. I complimented her, watched movies with her. I even offered to help her choose a birthday gift for her mom. Why? Because her mother's birthday dinner was coming up. A small family gathering, private, classy, the kind of night where image meant everything. And I just found the perfect Gift. The day before the dinner, Emily left her laptop open. She was in the shower again. Curiosity didn't even feel like a sin anymore, it felt like a duty. And that's when I saw it. A hidden folder on her desktop labeled Private PICS. Do not open. Of course I opened it. There they were. Photos she'd taken for other men. Some of them I'd never seen before. Some were clearly sent while we were dating. A few worse had dates on them. One was taken the night she said she was just with the girls. Another one had the reflection of a man in the mirror. It wasn't me. I didn't flinch. I copied the folder, added it to my growing archive of proof. And then I emailed myself a copy to Homersipes22, just in case. The next night, we drove to her parents' house together. She looked perfect. Hair curled, red dress. That same fake smile she used on everyone who didn't know her real face. Her mom hugged her. Her dad poured her wine. Her little sister giggled at everything she said. And I smiled through it all. Because in my pocket was a USB drive, labeled simply, "For your eyes only, from someone who cares." After dinner, while Emily was in the bathroom, I excused myself from the table, slipped into her dad's office, placed the USB on his desk, next to his reading glasses. Then I left a sticky note. "I thought you should know who she really is. No name, no threat, no anger. Just truth." And I walked back out, sat down, laughed at a joke her mom made, like nothing had happened, because the explosion wouldn't happen now. But soon, the ground beneath her feet would vanish, and she'd have no idea where the cracks began. The shift was almost imperceptible. The next morning, Emily's dad didn't greet her with his usual booming "Good morning, sweetheart." Instead, he looked at her like he was trying to solve a puzzle. Emily didn't notice. She was too busy scrolling through Instagram, laughing at something Mark had posted. But I noticed. Over breakfast, her mom was quiet too. She didn't ask Emily about her job, her plans, or even the dress she was wearing. The usual warm chatter had gone cold. I just sipped my coffee, watched the storm build in silence. That evening, back at our apartment, Emily was unusually clingy. She wanted to cuddle. She asked me if I wanted to do something fun. She even brought up the idea of going on a short vacation, just us. She said that it was like she could feel something shifting, even if she didn't know what. And me? I told her, that sounds great, because I needed her comfortable, still blind, still proud. But behind the scenes, the fallout had already started. 2 days later, her sister unfollowed her on Instagram. Her dad left their family group chat. Her mom stopped answering her calls. And Emily spiraled. She cried, accused them of being cold, said things like, "They're acting so weird lately. Did I do something?" She even asked me. I looked her in the eyes and said, "No idea. Maybe they're just going through something." Because this was never about revenge anymore. It was about unveiling her mask, piece by piece. I didn't want her destroyed. Not yet. I wanted her exposed. I wanted her to look into a mirror and see the reflection she forced me to carry for years. Emily showed up at her parents' house unannounced. She was wearing that soft pink sweater her mom loved, the one she always said made Emily look pure. But when her dad opened the door, there was no smile, just a stare. Cold, long, like he was trying to decide whether to slam the door or let the storm in. "Hey, Dad," she said cheerfully. "I figured I'd surprise you guys." "You did," he replied. That was it. No hug, no warmth. Emily stood awkwardly in the doorway until her mother finally appeared behind him. She looked exhausted, eyes red, voice flat. "We're busy." "Emily, busy?" This was a woman who used to call her daughter 3 times a day to ask if she'd eaten. "I just wanted to talk," Emily said, her smile faltering. Her dad disappeared into the office, returned with a plain white envelope. He held it out to her without a word. Emily hesitated, took it, then asked, "What's this? You should read it." "Alone." She tried to laugh it off, asked if they were pranking her. Her mom didn't even blink. So she left, got into her car, drove 3 blocks, pulled into a gas station, opened the envelope. Inside, printed screenshots, dozens of them, messages, photos, jokes, memes, everything, even the one she thought she'd deleted, even the one with her caption that read, He thinks I'm watching a rom-com. I'm watching Mark flex on his story and getting wetter by the second. Screamed in the car. Actually screamed. Called me 5 times in a row. I didn't answer. She texted, "What the hell is going on? Did you talk to my family?" I stared at the message, typed, deleted, typed again. And then I sent just one thing. "You should be more careful who you send your secrets to." And I blocked her. Emily wasn't ready to face the real horror yet, because it wasn't just that her parents knew. It was who else might know, and how far those messages had spread. She ran to the one person she thought would protect her, Mark. Yes, that Mark, the same guy she flirted with behind my back, the same one who told her I looked like I couldn't satisfy a sandwich. He was the first one she messaged after I blocked her. "Can I stay with you a few days? Things are crazy," he replied. But it wasn't what she expected. LMAO. "Girl, your boyfriend really flipped the switch also. Maybe don't send pics next time." She froze. Then sent, What are you talking about? Did you show someone?" And his reply, "You think we weren't all sharing those already, girl? We got a whole folder. It's called Emily's Education. You're a legend." Legend? She threw her phone across the room. Everything was unraveling. Meanwhile, I was busy putting the final piece in place. A carefully edited folder. Nothing illegal. Nothing explicit. But just enough. Screenshots of her bragging about manipulating people, her mocking her friends behind their backs, voice memos laughing about making men fight over her, and most importantly, every single apology she never made. I attached it all to an anonymous email. Subject line, "You deserve to know who you've been supporting." And I sent it to her favorite podcast host she once guest starred on, her gym's female empowerment group, her alumni network group chat, her bossnet to destroy her life, but to strip her mask in every circle she wore it. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was the truth going viral. Asterisk it took for days. For days of silence, for days of no replies, unfollows, ignored calls, and public embarrassment, before Emily finally broke. She showed up at my apartment. No makeup, hair a mess, eyes swollen, wearing the hoodie I bought her last Christmas, the one she said made her feel safe. I didn't open the door. She knocked, then pounded. Then slid to the floor and started crying. "Ryan, please, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't think you'd ever see those. I was stupid. I was drunk. They didn't mean anything. I love you." She said all the right words. All the things people say when they realize consequences are real. But here's the thing. She didn't love me. She loved the version of me who tolerated being humiliated. The version who looked the other way, who forgave, who swallowed pain so she could feel adored. That version was dead. I opened the door not all the way, just enough for her to see my face. She looked up at me like a lost child. "I ruined everything," she whispered. I nodded. "You did." She reached for my hand. I didn't move. "Can we fix it?" I paused, then leaned in, just enough for her to hear. "You shared me with strangers. I shared you with the truth." I closed the door, locked it, walked away. She didn't knock again. Asterisk silence. Not the kind that feels peaceful. Not the kind that feels like closure. This was the kind of silence that settles like dust after a building collapses. Heavy, unavoidable. Final. Emily disappeared from social media 2 days later. Instagram gone. Twitter vanished. TikTok, where she once posted dance videos and relationship advice, deleted without a trace. I didn't celebrate. There's nothing victorious about watching someone drown in the consequences they built for themselves. I got a message from her old roommate, Lisa, a few days after. We only met once at a dinner party, where Emily introduced me as the boyfriend who's surprisingly chill. Lisa's message said, "Hey, just wanted to say I'm sorry. I saw some of what Emily was saying in those chats. Didn't know how deep it went. She's not taking this well. Her parents cut her off. Her boss fired her this morning." I stared at the screen. Did I feel sorry for her? No, not exactly. What I felt was something colder, sharper. The kind of satisfaction that comes from knowing you didn't need to scream to be heard. That same week, I got a letter. An actual, handwritten letter. It was from Emily. For pages, front and back. Full of apologies. Not for what she did, but for how it made her feel. How she missed us. How she wished she'd been more honest. How she just wanted to feel wanted. There was no accountability, no mention of the men, no mention of how she made me feel like a joke to people I'd never even met. Just paragraphs of emotional gymnastics. And at the end, I don't expect you to forgive me. I just hope someday you'll remember the good parts. I folded the letter once, twice, and dropped it in the trash without another thought, because this wasn't about good parts. This was about finally learning that love without respect isn't love at all. The next morning, I opened a new bank account, started a new gym membership, signed the lease on a quiet studio apartment 3 blocks from the lake. Clean slate, new walls, no ghosts. That night, I sat by the water with a coffee and watched the city lights ripple across the waves. And for the first time in months, maybe even years, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel ashamed. I felt free. Not because I'd destroyed her, but because I'd finally chosen me. Freedom is strange at first. You wake up and expect the anxiety, the tightness in your chest, the weight of second-guessing every step, but it's not there. You eat breakfast alone and don't check your phone 100 times. You walk into your apartment, and it doesn't feel like you're walking into someone else's performance. It feels quiet. Real. Mine. 2 weeks past. No messages, no sightings, no updates from mutual friends. Emily had gone completely dark. I was rebuilding myself, a little stronger each day. New morning routines, journaling, therapy finally. I even started talking to someone new. Nothing serious yet, but she asked questions that mattered. She listened when I spoke, not just waited for her turn to talk. And then it happened. A knock at the door, not a text, not a call, a literal knock. I opened it, and there she was. Emily. Not the version I remembered, not the polished, smug, untouchable Emily. This one looked like a shadow of herself, eyes tired, hair limp. She wore a hoodie 2 sizes too big, like she was trying to disappear inside it. I didn't say anything. She held up a small box. I needed to return something. I didn't move. She placed it at my feet. I know I don't deserve 5 minutes of your time, she said, but I lost everything. And I know that's on me. I just wanted you to know. I finally get it. All of it. She stepped back, hands trembling, waiting, hoping for some sign of forgiveness. I nodded slowly. Thank you for returning it, I said. Then I closed the door, not because I hated her, but because healing doesn't always mean reopening the wound. Inside the box, my old watch, the one my grandfather gave me. She'd kept it all this time, and taped to the top. A note: he would have been proud of you. I'm sorry I wasn't. I didn't open the box again. Not because I was angry, but because I knew what it meant. Emily's note wasn't about rekindling anything. It was a final whisper in a storm that had already passed, and I needed to let it be. A few nights later, I sat at a bar with someone new. Her name was Leela. We met through a friend. Of a friend, nothing dramatic. She wasn't flashy, wasn't trying to impress. She was just kind. We talked about childhood dreams, favorite books, the worst date stories we'd ever had. When I told her I'd just gotten out of something complicated, she didn't press. She just said, "Take your time." And that sentence felt more respectful than any love letter Emily had ever written. But healing isn't linear. Later that week, I found myself scrolling back through old photos. Not because I missed her, but because I was curious. Who was I then? The smiling guy in all those pictures wasn't fake. He just didn't know yet how deep betrayal could cut. And now I was someone else. Someone who knew the cost of ignoring red flags. Someone who learned that silence can be a scream. Someone who realized that love isn't proven through sacrifice, it's proven through respect. I donated the last of Emily's things that weekend. Old books, sweaters she left behind, even the scented candle she claimed smelled like peace. It smelled like denial, honestly. And when I dropped the box at the donation center, the guy behind the counter smiled and said, "Fresh start." I smiled back. Finally. It was a Sunday morning, the kind where everything feels calm, sunlight creeping through the curtains, coffee in hand. A warm body curled next to mine in bed. Leela was still asleep, her breathing slow and peaceful, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I didn't wake up with a knot in my stomach. I opened my phone casually, no alarms, no missed calls. Just peace. Until I saw it. A notification. At Emily Thoughts just posted for the first time in 3 months. I didn't even follow her anymore, but mutual friends still did. And Instagram, being the cruel little algorithm it is, pushed her post to my Explore page. The caption was simple: sometimes losing everything is how you finally find yourself. A filtered black and white selfie, eyes wet, hair tousled just enough to say vulnerable without saying broken. And the comments, flooded with sympathy. You're so strong. They don't deserve you. She's back and better than ever. I almost laughed. She had weaponized her collapse, spun the truth into a sob story, rebranded herself not as someone exposed, but someone wronged. Classic Emily. But this time, I didn't feel anger. I just felt nothing. I set the phone down, turned toward Leela, brushed a strand of hair off her face. She stirred, smiled sleepily. Morning. And I smiled back, because Emily could manipulate strangers all she wanted. But she couldn't touch this. Not anymore. A month passed. Emily's comeback gained traction. Of course it did. She started a podcast, called it Rebuilding Me. She talked about heartbreak, toxic relationships, and how she lost herself trying to make others happy. I listened to one episode. Just one. In it, she described a man who controlled her emotionally, who punished her for having male friends, who weaponized trust to shame her into isolation. She never said my name, but she didn't have to. Anyone who knew us would connect the dots. It wasn't just a lie. It was a rewrite, a full rebranding of the woman who betrayed everyone and still wanted applause. But this time, I didn't reach for receipts. I didn't blast her with a truth bomb. I didn't expose her, because I didn't care to correct her story anymore. I was living mine. My mornings were slow, gentle, real. I'd wake up next to Leela, cook breakfast, walk to the lake, and return emails from clients who respected me. No more drama. No more walking on emotional glass. Just peace, earned and protected. Until one afternoon, I saw her. Emily. In real life. She was walking out of a coffee shop as I walked in. We locked eyes. She froze. I gave her a nod, polite, distant, final. She opened her mouth, maybe to say something, but I was already walking past her. And just like that, the chapter truly ended. Not with screaming, not with revenge, but with quiet, deliberate indifference. A month passed. Emily's comeback gained traction. Of course it did. She started a podcast, called it Rebuilding Me. She talked about heartbreak, toxic relationships, and how she lost herself trying to make others happy. I listened to one episode. Just one. In it, she described a man who controlled her emotionally, who punished her for having male friends, who weaponized trust to shame her into isolation. She never said my name, but she didn't have to. Anyone who knew us would connect the dots. It wasn't just a lie. It was a rewrite, a full rebranding of the woman who betrayed everyone and still wanted applause. But this time, I didn't reach for receipts. I didn't blast her with a truth bomb. I didn't expose her, because I didn't care to correct her story anymore. I was living mine. My mornings were slow, gentle, real. I'd wake up next to Leela, cook breakfast, walk to the lake, and return emails from clients who respected me. No more drama. No more walking on emotional glass. Just peace, earned and protected. Until one afternoon, I saw her. Emily. In real life. She was walking out of a coffee shop as I walked in. We locked eyes. She froze. I gave her a nod, polite, distant, final. She opened her mouth, maybe to say something, but I was already walking past her. And just like that, the chapter truly ended. Not with screaming, not with revenge, but with quiet, deliberate indifference.